I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
The Gilgo beach murders have finally been solved. I couldn't believe the headlines this morning saying they finally caught the serial killer. First, before we discuss this breaking story, my name is Holly, and welcome to the Murder She Shed. This is the place you can hear breaking crime cases and also rarely heard true crime. So make sure you hit that subscribe button to join me weekly right here in the Murder She Shed. Now back to the serial killer. Rex Heuermann is a 59-year-old married father of two and a New York architect. He's president of his own company called RH Architect Design, which he has owned since 1994. The arrest is tied to the so-called Gilgo 4, women that were found wrapped in burlap within days of each other in late 2010, and not the other 6 who was later eyed as possibly being connected. So far it's only been proven to be connected to the Gilgo 4, although there was like 11 bodies total. Apparently his wife's DNA was tied to this case. Hair found in 2 of the victims matched Rex's wife. Computer forensics and also cell phone data have also helped police to get their suspect.
He compared his personal cell site records with that of the 4 target phones, and we saw that there was areas of commonality. In other words, that whenever the target phones would bounce off a cell tower, the Heuermann personal phone bounced off a tower. It was always consistent and in close proximity. Followed his use of burner phones. We were able to identify 7 separate burner phones that he used. We were able to use fictitious or fraudulent email addresses and get Google warrants, and from there we got his searches. In a 14-month period, he had over 200 searches pertaining to the Gilgo investigation. Not only was he looking at investigative insight, he was trying to figure out how is the task force using cell phones to try to figure out what's happening. In addition to those Gilgo searches, he was compulsively searching pictures of the victims, but not only pictures of the victims, pictures of their relatives, their sisters, their children, and he was trying to locate those individuals. In addition to that, there was a lot of torture and what you would consider depictions of women being abused.
Here is an interview posted on the YouTube channel Bonjour Realty of Rex discussing his architect business. His favorite tool happens to be a hammer.
Rex!
Hello!
Hi, how you doing?
Good to see you.
Likewise. I hope you don't mind. I brought my assistant with me, Norman.
Hello, Norman. I see it's raining out.
Yes, it's raining. Yeah. Yes, please. Okay.
I know. You said you like to do this outside, but Mother Nature is not cooperating today.
Yeah, to say the least, I tell you that.
Rex Heuermann, I'm an architect. I'm an architectural consultant. I'm a troubleshooter. Born and raised on Long Island.
Okay.
Been working in Manhattan since 1987.
Oh, wow.
Very long time.
Okay. If you were a tool or an object to help you to bring your business to greater heights, what would it be?
That's an interesting question.
I know.
One of the things I learned from my father was furniture building.
Okay.
He was an aerospace engineer and built satellites. And
runs in the family, building things.
And built furniture at home. And I still build it in the same exact workshop.
So? I
have one tool that's pretty much used in almost every job. And it's actually a cabinet maker's hammer.
Okay, cabinet maker hammer. Okay.
It is persuasive enough when I need to persuade something.
Not someone.
Something. And it always yields excellent results. Yeah. And at the end of the project, whatever piece of furniture or what I'm working on, it always helps it come out beautifully.
Okay, great. So you would be kind of that kind of hammer for your business? That's what you're saying? If that doesn't exist, that's what you would be?
Sometimes I have to be the heavy framing hammer.
The heavy framing hammer.
Other times I'm the lightweight hammer just to nudge things along.
All right. I guess it's a hammer. We got it. That's it, folks. That was Rex, owner, founder of RH Consultant.
When I look at him, I don't see a serial killer, but these guys know how to hide all their secrets. On Friday morning, his office building was still swarming with cops. Investigators were also stationed outside his rundown little home, where they removed a cooler at one point. Don't want to know what was in it. His car was later seized as evidence and towed from his driveway. His neighbors said that he seemed like just a regular business and family man. Went to work, came home, enjoyed his family. Kind of quiet, though, they said. He didn't say a lot. They just kind of waved bye to him if they seen him leave, but he didn't seem quiet during the interview. But according to them, he didn't have a lot to do with his neighbors. Rex is from the Massapequa area, which is across the bay from where some of the bodies were actually found. That leads me to believe the guy must have owned a boat when he actually dumped the bodies, because he would probably have to go across by boat. That would be the easiest way to dispose of the bodies, or I would think, without getting caught.
All of the women were bound at the head, at the midsection, or at the chest, and later at the legs. They were bound by burlap. The burlap was camouflage burlap used for duck blinds, of hunting.
So I'm assuming he owns a boat, although I didn't see one in any of the pictures, so not sure about that info. Among the breaks in the case that allowed police to actually hone in on the suspect were cell phone pings of calls he made to one of the victims' families. Creepy. They traced that back to the Massapequa area. The little red home he currently lives in was owned by his parents, so he has lived in the same house all of his life. He lives there now with his wife and 2 adult children. I can't even imagine how shocked they are today to find out that their father and husband is a serial killer. Neighbors noted that the dilapidated property seemed out of place among rows of single-family homes and well-kept lawns in the small community. A neighbor stated his house sticks out like a sore thumb. There were overgrown shrubs. There was always wood in front of the house. He said it was very creepy, which I think is odd. He didn't live in a nicer house since he is an architect. The development comes a day after state police responded to a report of skeletal remains found in a wooded area off the Southern State Parkway in Islip. It has been not made clear if those remains were linked to the Gilgo Beach case. The Gilgo Beach murder case has haunted police for 13 years, dating back to 2010, when the body of Shannon Gilbert, a 24-year-old escort from Jersey City, was found in the area. That led police to finding nearly a dozen other sets of human remains in the vicinity, including that of the so-called Gilgo 4. Now, what I'm understanding so far, they've only linked those 4. As far as I know, there's no way there was not be more murders linked to this guy, because I just don't believe he just suddenly quit killing. Apparently, Rex attended the same high school as Alec Baldwin and his brother Billy Baldwin and graduated in 1991. Now let's discuss his 4 known victims so far. Melissa Bartholomew, 24, was a worker who lived in the Unionport section of the Bronx and dreamed of one day opening her own beauty salon. She was last seen alive in her basement apartment on Underhill Avenue on July 12, 2009. Melissa advertised on Adult Friend Finder and other sites under the alias Chloe and Very Sexy Chloe. She had the words Blaze and Focus tattooed on her back and letters on her chest. She was known to meet clients at bars, restaurants, and hotels on Manhattan's West Side. On the night of her final sighting, Melissa told a friend she was going to see a man and would be back in the morning. Her cell phone records show she traveled from the Bronx to Manhattan, likely by taxi. Melissa's mother had not heard from her or been able to contact her for a few days, so she reported her missing to the NYPD on July 18, 2009. The investigation showed that the woman's cell phone pinged in Manhattan, Freeport, and Massapequa and Lindenhurst. After Melissa's disappearance, her younger sister received a string of taunting phone calls from who apparently we now know was Rex, using the victim's own phone. That is so disturbing and disgusting. On December 11, 2010, her skeletal remains were found on the north side of Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach. Maureen Brainerd Barnes was 25 years old and lived in Northwich, Connecticut. She went missing after taking an Amtrak train from New London, Connecticut to Grand Central Terminal in Manhattan on July 6, 2007. At the time, Maureen was working as advertising her services on Craigslist and Backpage under the names Juliana or Marie. Her routine was to travel to Manhattan for a few days to work as an escort, then return home to Connecticut. While in Manhattan, she was known to stay at various budget motels in Midtown. On occasion, Maureen would travel with another woman who worked out of a different room at the same hotel. They both may have used a male friend whom they would refer to as their cousin to accompany them and offer protection. Maureen traveled with her gal pal the weekend she went missing, but her friend returned home early and Maureen stayed behind. She was last heard from at 11:43 p.m. on July 9, 2007, when she called another friend in Connecticut. Although she was known to work out of motel rooms, that night she told her friend she would be going to meet someone on an out call. Maureen reported missing on July 14th. Her body was found on December 13, 2010 on the north side of Ocean Parkway. Megan Waterman, a 22-year-old Mama One, was last seen on June 6, 2010. She lived in Scarborough, Maine, and earned a living as an escort, advertising on Craigslist and Backpage. She used the monikers Lexi and Sexy Lexi. She was last seen by her family boarding a New York-bound bus in Maine, possibly accompanied by her. Megan was last seen staying at a Holiday Inn Express. She left the hotel at 1:30 a.m. June 6 to meet a client. She later called her, who was in Brooklyn at the time, to tell him she was going to a convenience store near the hotel. Megan was reported missing to the police in Maine 2 days later. Family members said it was unlike her not to call them to check on her then 3-year-old daughter. Her body was found on December 13, 2010 on the north side of Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach. She is believed to be the third victim in the Gilgo Four. Amber Lynn Costello, 27, was a worker and addict who lived in West Babylon, New York at a home with a woman and 2 men. She advertised on Craigslist and Backpage to support her and her roommate's drug habits. Amber used the names Carolina or Mia and had tattoos of chaos on her neck, a butterfly on her lower back, and the word Margaret on her leg. She had moved to New York from Clearwater, Florida, and had completed a 28-day drug rehab, but had relapsed not long before her disappearance. Amber and her housemates shared a cell phone. The other female roommate was also a sex worker, and the men would arrange dates with clients for the women. Amber did in-calls at her home as well as out-calls. When Amber would meet clients at her house, the 2 male roommates would often run a scam. Once John had paid money, but before any acts occurred, they would confront him saying she was their girlfriend, and the man would flee. Amber was last seen leaving her home on September 2, 2010 to meet a client for. Amber did not have her cell phone with her at the time, and she was never reported missing. Her body was found on December 13, 2010 on the north side of Ocean Parkway. She is believed to be the 4th victim of the Gilgo Four.
Indictment of defendant Rex Andrew Heuermann, 59 years of age. And he's been arrested by the Suffolk County Police Department's homicide detectives, and he's been indicted for the murders of Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. The investigation of Maureen Brainerd Barnes is ongoing.
This is great news for all the families of the victims. Maybe now they can have some kind of justice. And as always, I love y'all. Y'all know it. And come back and visit me at the murder she shed. Sorry, Simon, my German Shepherd, was inside the house today because it was freaking hot. So maybe next time you'll see him. Bye.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa.